Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul. And joining me to go through the game this evening, we have Herman. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine, Paul. How are you?
I'm very jealous, to be honest. There you are, sat with a T-shirt on, and here I am, fingerless gloves, jumper, thermals, blanket over my knees. It's freezing here, so yes, I'm very jealous, must say.
All right. It won't last,
So.
I can tell you that. Winter is coming. Winter is most definitely coming over here. Eventually.
It can't anymore, it's all finished, Game of Thrones. That's it. We have the endless summer now. It's all done. So, yes, let's crack on. So, 2 games for the weekend. We had the Springboks against the Wallabies and also the Pumas against the All Blacks. So, kicking off first, though, we had the Springboks versus the Wallabies. Kicking off that game, early on, quite a few errors from the Springboks. They took a while to settle down. Kicks out on the full. They took a while to settle down. They were giving the Wallabies sort of territory early on.
Yep, they did. But I mean, cliche now, but that was kind of expected with a lot of rust from all teams in the beginning of the games.
Oh, the second game, the second game was definitely a first game of the season. Whereas this one, we had some nice moves. Not Elson Yankees, sorry, wrong one. The other Yankees. How can you have 2 Yankees on the team? Herschel. On debut, backing up like a good scrum half does. I mean, we've seen TJ Piranara and players like that doing it plenty of times. Brad Weber as well. But no, this time it's Herschel Yankees, and I want to say Herschel Gibbs, but no. Herschel Yankees, who goes over for the try after a good break, and good start from the Springboks to take that 7-0 lead. The Bernard Foley comes back with a penalty, and then we get into, I guess, some of the issues that the Wallabies had. We had lots of carrying by the big boys in this game, not just those forwards, but also Karevi. I mean, Karevi had a really good first half, made the break, and just a forward pass out of his hand to have the try disallowed.
But that was poor. Come on, that's a bomb try. He should be able to get that pass. It was not just forward. I thought it was for being someone who's claimed to be Super Rugby's best number 12. I don't think so.
That's. Again, I think he had a good game this weekend. Apart from the fact that he as you say, he bombed that try by giving a forward pass.
No, I think we're gonna disagree about Karevi this weekend. I thought he had probably one of his worst test games.
Oh wow, okay. And I guess actually I'm going to take
viewers, different points of view.
I'm going to be taking people in the live chat. Hi, Joshua, Andre, Jack, etc. Your views. Karevi played well or didn't play well? Let me know in the chat, because hey, clearly we're disagreeing already. And I think I'm going to probably take a different view to everyone else. A lot of people are very, very down on the Wallabies. This was a game that I thought they could have won. I think there's lots of positives to take out of it. Breaks like that from Karevi. And we'll get onto it in a second, but Esterhuizen got yellow carded for taking out the player in the air. I mean, it's just a silly one there. And the Wallabies really didn't take advantage of the extra man. South Africa played really well down the left-hand side for Luke de Jager to score. And a weekend actually of locks scoring, as we'll talk about in the next game.
But should we not mention Peter Steptoe little nice kick before the try? That was some serious skill he showed there. And also, I guess we got to come back to Herschel Yantis several times during, but his work on that try was sensational too. I mean, what a debut!
And that was one of the thing about Yantis. Was good decision making, a very what's the word I'm looking for? Level head, a very mature head on him in this game. There's Rugby has done some good clips on Twitter showing how a couple of minutes into the game, his first box kick, doesn't run in there, get it, kick it. He takes his time, calms himself down, gets everything ready, and then he kicks it. So I think that he had a very, very good game, very calm game. Another player that looked like he was having a good game then was Dame Helmet-Petty, who went and scored a try before he went and bombed a try. 2 bomb tries by the Wallabies in that first half. They could easily have gone in 14-28, 14-24 up at half time. But instead, they end up going in 14-10 because of their own mistakes, really.
Yeah, but probably the more realistic one should be they should at least be 14-13 because we had this penalty just in front of the sticks at the halftime hooter. And I don't know any team in the world, at halftime hooter, you take the points there in a test match.
Yes, you do. They clearly felt that they could push things at that point, but you're right. A penalty then would have made it 1 point.
But they choose a scrum, and it was pretty obvious that South Africa had a stronger scrum than the Wallabies also. It was a baffling decision for me, at least.
Yes, the scrum, as you say, they had the upper hand most of the game. They started out fairly even for the first sort of 20 odd minutes, but then they lost. Yeah, then they had the upper hand from then onwards. And the Wallabies ever choosing a scrum was a bad mistake from them.
Ever.
It was just awful. Nazarani did his best to try and make breaks, etc. But when you get on the second game and you look at someone like what Ardie Surveyor was doing, it's just chalk and cheese. As if you have that solid platform, you can pick it up and you can go. If you don't have that platform, you can't pick it up and go. And it's a mess. But that was really a crazy one. As well. We come into the second half. This is a game of 2 yellow cards. That first yellow card, South Africa actually come out of it 7-7, so they do really well. Second half, Topu comes on because basically they've scrummaged Kepu off the pitch, and he's going backwards at the scrum so fast. He gets he comes on, and one of the first things he does is dive into a player with his chest, with dive into player. Now they're saying it's. I thought there were arms that came through, and that's not the worst clean out you'll see at a breakdown, is it really?
No, but that's not why he got yellow carded either. I think it's funny that so many miss the point why he got yellow card, because he was probably about 2 seconds after the ref whistle, but he made the tackle, and that's why. If it has been during regular play, no way that's a yellow card. But if you do that kind of tackle 2 seconds after ref whistle, it's yellow card every day.
And that's what it was. You're right. It was the fact that the whistle had gone. He then dives in.
And what a stupid situation to do it to, because Wallabies had like 0 possession in the beginning of the second half. And then they finally managed to turn over a ball and get the scrum there, And when he does that, so we lose to a penalty. And I think South Africa scored pretty shortly after that again. It's a real coach killer. It's a real coach killer.
That was a coach killer. And we had 2 tries then in that yellow card period. Nkosi down the right, and Nkosi was the guy who had the break that put Herschel Yanchis in for the first try. He had a break again. He had a good game this evening. Did Nkosi on the other wing? Pretty quiet but coming down the right hand side, he went in, and then we had Herschel.
That was actually a great team try. You mean the third South African try?
Yeah, the third one. Now, to me,
basically everyone in the team did the core skill. Basically, I was calling in front of the TV when I saw that. Oh, that's the Rainbow Nation try. Like everyone did what we were good at.
Now, everyone's really happy. I'm sat there going, guys, you've gone through. You've taken the ball from sideline to sideline to sideline, probably about 3 or 4 times before you've scored against a team that's had a player yellow carded. I think they made hard work of it. They did well to keep hold of the ball, but I think they made hard work of finding the space.
You're very, very stern today, Paul, huh? I thought it was.
Also, I thought the second try was held up as well. But anyway, that's another matter entirely. So
even if a referee was standing just 2 meters away pointing, he says he clearly sees the ball, We're not going
Absolutely.
to trust that. We're gonna still argue. No. From my angle on the telly,
From my
I
angle on
can
telly, that
see
was
it.
held up, and he
The
waited
referee
like
is a
3
sheep.
days before it
He's a
actually got
sheep.
down. Anyway, so they did that. We then had, as someone's mentioned, that Dane Hellepetty goes in to a ruck when he doesn't need to, leaves the blind side totally open. Once he's in the ruck, he gets held there by a player, which, yeah, if you go into the ruck and you're going to get your jersey grabbed and you're going to get held in, it was his own fault. Then Herschel Yanchis breaks down the side, gets his second try, and he thinks this whole Test rugby is rather easy with 2 tries in his first game.
But it looked easy for him. It's always something to cherish when you see a new guy on the scene just stepping up to Test rugby like it's nothing. Basically, we don't see that too many times. I remember like last year we had the South African winger Jantis also walked like straight into Super Rugby and looked ready, and then straight into Test rugby and looked ready after playing Currie Cup the year before.
And so we've got to be a bit careful. I mean, there was some comments also on Twitter that, look, it is his first game. There's not much match tape. People won't be necessarily sure what to expect. Amongst Super Rugby nations, they should have a pretty good idea. But this kid was fighting for a Currie Cup place last year. Never mind sort of an international or even a Super Rugby one. So so you've got to say yes that he had a great game, made it look easy, but we'll have to see how, once there's more game tape on him, how he comes on.
Yeah, naturally. I mean, yeah, of course, one game is no game in that regard, but it looks very, very promising. I have to say that, but also he's going to have the luxury for probably a large part of his Test career. He's going to play behind a pretty big and brutal pack, which is going to help him to probably take upwards.
But I think he's about the same sort of weight as I am, and he's he's a small guy. He's only 70 something kilos. Yeah. He's very, very small. So let's hope he doesn't get too bashed up as part of it. And that 10 minutes won the game, because at that point it's 28-10, and there's no coming back for the Wallabies. Nice cameo by Curtly Beale when he came on. Some nice breaks and things, and Foley getting a try that he converted. Then finally, Reinhardt, the replacement scrum half, also gets a try. So there were 3 of the 5 tries to scrum halves for South Africa. And as you say, when you've got a big pack sucking in players, that's going to leave some spaces for the little boys to nip around and score some tries.
Maybe that's the future thing for South Africa, because especially if you have a really big and brutal pack.
Whoops! And Skype has gone all funny there, so hopefully that'll come back, and we'll have Herman normally. Are you back, Herman?
Now you hear me. All right, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, I was just the microphone going. No, I just thought, because we saw the same thing last year with Faf de Klerk behind the big brutal Springbok pack. It works very nice, and it worked very nice again here. It could be onto something here. Maybe scrum halves obviously have never been big boys, but maybe you should really go for. There are advantages being pretty small playing scrum half too in many areas of the game.
Absolutely, yeah, but they should be looking at. One of the things they should be looking at is quick ball away from the ruck and guys who'll snipe when the opportunity's there. That's pretty much what you're wanting from your scrum half. A nice box kick as well obviously helps. And those are the key things.
They need a good voice too.
A good voice and lots of clapping. Clapping and waving your hands in the air, going, "What, ref? What's going on?" It's all part of the job description. Looking at some of the stats, then, possession and territory, I think, give you a pretty good idea as how this went. Territory for the first half, 65% to Australia. Australia bombed those 2 tries. In the second half, they only had 20% territory. They just could never get out of their own half in that second half. Apart from a couple of breaks by Curtly Beale once he came on, but that second half really was the South Africans came out and dominated. cleaned up all their errors. There were no kicking out in the full. As you say, got all the rust was off. Playing some nice rugby there.
Yep.
Wallabies haven't beaten the Boks at Ellis Park in 56 years. Sure, they haven't played there in 10 years. Nearly all their games are at sea level. So Ellis Park is normally saved for the All Blacks, which is why you have that stat. But yes, you could point some fingers. A few line-out issues there as well. There were quite a lot of line-outs in this game. Turnovers at 19 for the Wallabies. That's going to be on the upper end of what they really want. But otherwise, yeah, a team who have sort of settled into their styles pretty quickly. One of the from a player's point of view, Samu Karevi, as we did an awful lot of carries, 18 runs with ball. That is that's pretty crazy. Getting into double figures is quite a lot, but 18 is one of the higher numbers I've seen for a long time. He got really involved.
He put it in his work, but he can't pass. He can offload, but he can't. I mean, seriously, he can't pass. And at test level, you're going to be found out.
And as you say, he can offload. And one of those things that I guess someone like Sonny Bill Williams has been accused of in the past as well. But so he can offload, but he's not a playmaking 12. He's a 12 that's you're going to basically run it up. He's expecting him to crash it up there, and that's what you're going to get from him. Delende, another player who was like that in the last Rugby World Cup for South Africa, was a player who never really passed it, and he knew what was going to happen. It was going to get bashed up. So he's not the first and will not be the last to do that in a 12 jersey. Let's be honest. Now, defensively, I want to point something out because it's going to make a lot of sense come the second game. But if we look at this, I mean, Creel got through 14 tackles, which was an awful lot in those channels. But Lant missed 3, Nkosi missed 2, Creel missed 2, Estes missed 1, Mapimpi missed 1, Yanchis missed 3. So between them in the back, so that's where most of the tackles have been missed by South Africa. And we had something similar on the not quite so much, but Foley missed 5, Hodge missed 1, Krevy a couple, Delen Petty 1. Foley and Yanchis, both of them are a bit turnstile, a bit lightweight fly halves, a bit old school fly halves in that defensive manner. And I think they're both going to see quite a lot of traffic for the rest of the year.
Yeah, but naturally, but what else is to expect? I mean, that's for other guys in the team to sort it so they don't get too exposed. We can't really expect that 170 centimeter guys on 70 kilos are going to be all of a sudden bashing and banging everything coming their way.
Very true. But the reason I wanted to talk about that in particular is we're obviously going to move on to the Argentina versus the All Blacks one. But one of the reasons that the All Blacks managed to win this game was their defence. And if we look at their defence from their backs, particularly, Beauden Barrett, 5 tackles, non-missed. Geordie Barrett, 5 tackles, non-missed. Lamakipi, 12 tackles, non-missed. Anton Leonard-Brown, 7 tackles, 1 missed. Non-missed by Rees, non-missed by Smith. That's the big difference between this All Blacks side and the other Three-Nations Championship. Because again, if we go through or one of the big differences, if we go through the numbers for Argentina, again, they missed about 10 or 12 in their backs. 1 missed tackle in the All Blacks' backs. That's the kind of standard that the other teams have got to start looking at and trying to live up to.
Oh, well, that's even freakish with All Blacks high standards.
Agreed.
It is. I think that we're not going to see too many repeats. But you make a fair point. But All Blacks for many years now has the best defense in the rugby world. We're still getting most people focus on their razzle dazzle and the flash plays. But if you look how they win tight test games, it's their defense that's coming through for them over and over and over again. And it's been like that for years now.
Yep, and that's, as you say, a lot of the attention is on that razzle-dazzle, but it's on that defence. Before we actually leave the Springboks, Wallabies game, any other points you want to make about, final points about that game?
Yeah, I thought even if he obviously got outplayed by his opponent, but I think Nick White deserves a little mention. I thought he looked pretty good, actually. It was almost he was too quick for Wallabies forwards. They didn't oh, this is too fast, boy, settle down. But hopefully they are the ones speeding up their game and not him the one slowing down. But I think Will Genya will have some serious competition for his starting place here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see Nick White when he's coming back to the back to playing Australia next year, I think, isn't it? I can't remember where he's moving to, but he must be selected. So yeah, it was he's good coming back. The other point actually is also remember that the Springboks had sent 15 players ahead to New Zealand. So this is kind of or players coming back from injury, such as Etzebeth, Jesse Creel, etc. But otherwise, it's the second choice side there. So that's not a full strength side by any stretch. And then to put a second half performance in like that against the Wallabies is pretty impressive, considering there's not many players being left out for the Wallabies.
Yeah, that was pretty much first spring Wallabies. We have a few injuries, but yeah. But I think a fair few Springboks made their selection process a little bit more interesting too after this game. There were a few guys who raised their hands and tell Rassi, I want to be in that first selection.
Yep, and when I say it's only when even though we say like there's second choice in quite a lot of positions, but there's still a lot of these players would be involved in off the bench, etc. if they weren't. So it's not like it's a totally B string side that's been brought in. Not like when England play the Barbarians, where it's players who aren't in the 30-man main squad at all. So this is still a decent side.
Any team that can field Lord Jäger and Eden Etzebeth when they're playing the B side should be pretty happy about life in general.
That is one hell of a combination. Yep.
For a B side, it's too much.
So it's not. It's not a fully B side, but it isn't also. It also isn't a fully A side either. So I think they had something like combined, something like 3 caps in their back three, for example. So there was. So I know that Andre's made a couple of comments that the backs were disorganised for the Springboks, but yet you can expect that's understandable considering, players coming back from injury and also players who've got little to no experience at this kind of level. So there was something, I think it was 3 debutants for South Africa and 2 for the Wallabies in this game. So well done from them. The one area that the Wallabies did have some trouble wasn't their props. We saw that at scrum time, and it didn't help that they had one of their guys was sat at home and got flown out this week because they'd lost 2 players to injury. So on the bench, so it's it was it was a fantastic sort of trip and turnaround for him. So we followed that one up with a game in Argentina. And the story of the first half, or one of the big talking points of the first half for me, was just the appalling handling by the sides, particularly by the All Blacks. The number of knock-ons and turnovers was pretty crazy, and it was a very, very rusty game. Much more so, I felt, than the Springboks Wallabies one.
Handling was poorer, but I think there was a couple of reasons for that we didn't see in the Springbok Wallabies games. Well, first of all, line speed was very much alive in this game, which it wasn't in the first game, and you're always going to see a lot more handling errors than both teams are, and that is probably. Well, there might be some. England and Ireland are not too shabby, but both Argentina and New Zealand are very good at line speed too. Very, very good at it. So, second thing also, I think we mentioned especially All Blacks, but we got to remember that Jaguars did pretty much the same thing to the Crusaders, who were as settled as you can possibly be when we were playing the finals. That's obviously they know if other teams are like really going for attacking on the Pumas, that seems to be lethal. Because they really know how to undo that. And All Blacks and Crusaders both have seemed to work it out. They start to sit. They try to crush them the first 15-20 minutes, but if that doesn't work, they seem to want to sit down and take it more as it comes.
Yeah, in 25 turnovers by the All Blacks, that is pretty criminal, to be honest. And I think the scrums gives you an idea as well. Argentina had 10 scrums, New Zealand only 3, which shows you that Argentina, well, it shows you that whenever someone knocks on, the All Blacks try and play and don't really want to go to a scrum. They want to counter-attack, take the opportunity while there's broken defence. But also the fact that I think New Zealand knocked the ball on a lot more than Argentina did in this game. Talking about the defence, you're right. The Wallabies in particular,
but you don't want to
give passive.
You don't want to give. Sorry. You don't want to give any props to the Argentinian defence for like really stressing the All Blacks out.
No, I was going to say I agree that the Wallabies' defence, in particular across the forward this weekend, was the most passive and had very little line speed. You're right. This one, there's lots of line speed, lots of in their people's faces, and I think they also read really well the player out of the back. Those sort of plays we've seen before, cutting teams open, didn't work this weekend at all.
No, I agree. But because my impression was that actually both teams tried really hard. It was not like when we had the ball that we didn't try to attack. We did, but we just couldn't find any space. But it was really hard to crack. And just look, try scored him in game 2. It's like not like the regular tries you would see.
We had what we're trying to think of the tries we had. We only had 3 tries in the game, wasn't it? Lamapi went in for one on 18 minutes, and I've just
quick tap from Aaron Smith. Was it there? It was a quick tap from Aaron Smith. It was a quick tap.
Quick tap from Aaron Smith for that one.
Yeah.
The Brodie Retallick try was an intercept, and then run from quite a long way out, and then
what a shocking pass from Sanchez. You're not going to mention that? Brodie was standing there like all still. It wasn't like he was like cheating, hiding. You know? I mean, how can you not see Brodie Retallick standing in your line? You know,
I was going to say the 3 tries. The 3 tries were a quick tap, an intercept, and then the Buffelli one in the second half. I've just gone.
Stealing the ball from Ben Smith in the air. I mean,
that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yes, the ball from Ben Smith.
When did we ever see that happen before? It was almost like it felt like a moment there because Buffelli for a few seasons now have been proper world class as fullback, and there are some noise that he is actually Ben Smith's heir apparent, and it was almost like that moment came like, all right, Buffelli, you have if you can steal the ball from Bender in the air and score a try like that, maybe your time is here.
So yeah, you're right. There's not 3 kind of crafted tries. In fact, none of them are particularly crafted tries. Any of them.
Not even close craft.
So you're right. This defences were very much on top in this game from both sides. In them, Andre says Sanchez battled a little in this game. To start off with, let's be honest, they went well. 2 penalties to get themselves 6-0 up early on. Got the territory. Made the most of the fact that the All Blacks couldn't get their hands on the ball, we're knocking over those penalties nicely. We had, as you say, a quick tap and go for Lamapi to come back into it. To come back into it, but then it really was a uncharacteristic in the fact that it was penalties that were kicked to decide to really get the lead in this one.
Well, I was not too surprised by that. Come on, it's
test match rugby.
Yeah. And I mean, it's been pretty clear for some time now that the All Blacks take Argentina fully serious. I mean, you can argue about the left-saver plays home, but as we all know, that doesn't hurt All Blacks as much as it hurt other teams because their depth is better.
Yep.
But in everything else, and I mean, Stevie Reese is the only player on that field that hasn't lost to the Jaguars in the last 2 years. So they know the RG boys can play. That's pretty obvious. And so, I mean, maybe Steve Hansen is a little bit too big on the words afterwards, but he said like that was like winning the lotto when the All Blacks winning. I don't know about that, but
because I've talked about those turnovers. I mean, some of the stats in here: 11 clean breaks by the All Blacks, only 4 by Argentina.
Yep.
The whilst they made less runs, they made 140 more meters. So when they did run, you got things like the Bodie Retallick intercept, which kind of is easy.
It was only from like 35 yards.
Pardon?
He was only from like 35 yards or something like that.
Yeah, but
Bodie great, but he's not going to run 100 yards without being catched by someone.
So to me, so you're looking at that, and the with those kind of stats, expect the All Blacks to rack up more points in this one.
Yep.
But as you say, the defence scrambled well. For what was Argentina didn't let the All Blacks score any points in the second half, and somehow got away with doing that by only making 59% of their tackles, which is pretty crazy.
That's kind of because how those two stats usually relate to each other, and there's no relationship whatsoever here. Holding the All Blacks to 0 points but miss that amount of tackle. How do you do that?
38 missed tackles in this one, which was now part of that is when you have a rush defence, you're expecting to miss tackles, but you're expecting to get some sort of hit on that slows the guy down, so it makes the next tackle really easy.
Correct.
So there is an element of that in this, but you're still expecting to be high 70s, low 80s, not below 60%. So there was that. So there was that kind of piece. The missed penalty that gets mentioned. If you're within a point, who knows what might have happened. But still, the Argentina did very well in that second half to basically camp in the New Zealand half for most of that time. 75% territory there, nearly as good as the Springboks territory against the Wallabies. But they just couldn't break through that defence. Pretty much similar to what New Zealand couldn't break out the defence either. And I've just talked. I talked about it before at the beginning of this thing is that the backs just didn't miss a tackle. And
I thought Ledesma missed the trick here by being so. I know what he banked on going with the cohesiveness of Jaguars, but to not play Cordero, especially and Isa in this game, I think he really missed it. He could have used, because one weakness I can see in Los Pumas is it's Matera or Labanini who do pretty much all the heavy, and Creevy when he's still on the field. They do all the heavy carrying, but there are not that many else doing the heavy. And Isa is probably he's the guy with the real big boy pants when it comes to carrying. So and you could. I'm not sure. Both Moyano and Moroni we are very, very good, but we are. Do they have that real X factor to score tries from nothing? But you probably need in Test Rugby if you want to get some silverware and real honors. I mean, Cordero. I would love to see Cordero in that second half.
I'm surprised that they didn't try or didn't manage to isolate Geordie Barrett and get one of their faster wingers having a run at him, because yes, he's quick, but he's not winger quick, isn't Geordie Barrett? He's solid, but he's not the kind of player I would he's very different to the style of player that the All Blacks normally play on that left wing.
Instead of Moroni had a good chance on the right hand wing, and he ran straight into Barrett, and Geordie even got a turnover penalty. That's when a poor job as attacking winger when Geordie's.
And also, we saw Moroni against the Crusaders. A couple of really good breaks down that right hand wing.
Yeah.
But not tonight again, or not this weekend against Geordie Barrett. And to me, that was something that they really should have gone for, to my mind. That's the. So I think they definitely. I think they missed a couple of tricks.
I'm thinking, and we took off Bofelli too after 60 minutes, and he's arguably the best back player in Argentina. And he looks, as we could see in the game, he was one who had that really world-class quality. Even if the All Blacks defense is super tight, he can still score them. But there are not that many others who can do it in that team.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's coming back from injury. Well, he is coming back from injury.
No, he's not. He's not.
No?
But his replacement was coming back from injury to
The,
Colette. It was his
wrong way around.
first
Yes,
game
sorry.
since
Yeah.
forever. Yeah.
The Sanchez. There's been some comments about Sanchez having a hard evening. To be fair, it's his first game back from France, playing with these players. They're all used to each other, and maybe it's going to take a few games for him to click. But as you say, he made some poor decisions. That pass to Brody Retallick, but as you say, Brody Retallick isn't someone who hides. He's a big,
No.
and that was a kind of set move. We're going to play this move, whatever. And they can't. You can't do that at Test rugby. You've got to play what's in front of you.
Yeah. No, that was shockingly poor by Sanchez.
So, a lot of people saying that they were within a score. So clearly, this is probably the best opportunity that the Pumas have had to win against the All Blacks. A lot of that was down.
No, we had better ones before, but not many. We had two better opportunities. Yep.
I think that's defense in that defense by the backs in particular is what kept them out. Don't get me wrong. Artie Surveyor, Sam Kane, Angus Ta'avo, Offa Tungafasi all got through 10 tackles each, or over 10 tackles each, and did a good job defensively, as well as did Luke Jacobson when he came on, got through 9 tackles. But the fact that they just never missed any in the backs, to me, was the big thing that meant that the Sanchez backs just didn't get any change at all.
I mean, it's impossible to know for sure, but I think you make a very fair point there, because just if everything else is equal the way it was in the game, but the All Blacks backs would have missed some tackles, Argentina would have won that game probably with 1 or 2 tries margin. They had that much dominance in possession and territory.
Oh, they totally dominated that. I can't remember the last time a side held the All Blacks to 0 points and a half. And that second half was all Argentina bashing away at the All Blacks. There, a couple of people have been a bit hard. I think a bit harsh on. Jordy Barrett playing out of position. I wasn't expecting any great things out of him on the wing, to be honest. People are saying, "Hey, he's looked very ordinary." Well, what do you expect of him on the wing, to be honest? Patrick Tuipulotu's come under some criticism as well.
Yeah, he probably didn't do anything to strengthen, but he was never ever close to be starting in an All Black anyway.
No, but he was.
Yeah.
But I think Hemapo might have gone past him as far as even making it onto the plane and going to Japan.
Yeah. No, Fifita also wasn't great. I mean, Fifita shored up the line out. You have to give him that. He did some good line out work, but he's no Jerome Kano. He is not even close.
No,
he's such a big, strong guy, but there's nothing intimidating about it.
And I remember him for his pace when he has played well for the All Blacks, rather than his intimidation, rather than his size.
Yeah.
Now, is that really what you want from your six?
That's what I'm thinking when you said that too. Is that what we're looking for here?
So
it's not like All Black lack pace in other spaces either. We got space covered pretty well.
Yeah. So you got to. So that is a big. So there is still a question mark as to what's going to happen at 6 over there for Argentina. As we talked about, trying to get the to use their wide men. They just didn't use their wide men in this game. Really, perhaps a bit quiet from Decio, and needing some extra carrying in there somewhere. As well.
Isa, that's where Isa was missing all the time. I mean, which is at least I seen I think some of our viewers here remember when Isa played in Super Rugby. He was a man. He's one of the best ball carriers in the world, I would say. Best ball carrying 8 in the world, to make it correct.
So there's quite a few of those. Billy Vanapola.
and
as well. So
we're not that many good eights at all anymore in the world rugby. Fallatown, maybe.
Well, that maybe that's a discussion for tomorrow night on the Hash Rugby Chat.
All right.
So yes, so that's basically the weekend. The weekend's games. Upcoming, we have the South Africa. New Zealand versus South Africa in Wellington. So can the Boks go back-to-back wins in Wellington after winning there last year? And can Argentina beat Australia in Australia and basically pretty much commit Australia to the wooden spoon in this championship? We will have to see. So those are our big questions coming up next weekend.
Oh, wait. Argentina, Pumas beat Wallabies last year in Australia.
Yep. Well,
and Jaguars is still to lose in our Argentinian soil. So there are some handy stats for the RGs, I would say.
And the Jaguars 15 are going very well in the Curry Cup as well. So if you're keeping an eye on that,
78, 21 or something like.
So
but that's for another day too. I heard some good stories about the Curry Cup, like second division.
But yes, it is
basically the quality is not that good. It's dropped the quality a lot. It's more like club players playing now, because you probably heard about in South Africa we switch from like 980 professional contracts to 400, and this is obviously hitting very hard in the second division.
But that'll be hitting from next year, I think.
No, it's already started hitting.
Already started hitting.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, especially in the second division.
Right, well, Herman and I will be back tomorrow night with the Hash Rugby Chat. So if there are any hot topics in rugby that you would like us to discuss, throw that in there. I'll be back with Michael and Stephen on Wednesday night with the All Blacks edition, where obviously we'll talk about the Maori All Blacks versus Fiji. We'll also talk more about who's on the aeroplane to Japan for the All Blacks, and we'll predict our 23 to face South Africa. And then on Thursday night, I'll be back with my preview of the Rugby Championship games, and maybe even touch on some of the Pacific Nation Cup games as well then. So stick around this week. Lots and lots of rugby talk to come. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much for joining me, Herman. But I know you feel it's more your show than my show. So nowadays,
time to kick me out soon here, Paul. Teach me a lesson.
Good night. Subscribe.
Good night.
All of that kind of stuff. And if you're watching the recording, there'll be some various things around here to click. So give them a click too. Cheers.